This time on Chasing UFOs. A mysterious video of what some believe is a UFO crashing at a military base takes the team to New Mexico in a hunt for the truth.
We are being visited by a highly technologically advanced intelligence. Who they are and why are they here? I can't answer those questions.
But their search for answers leads them to an even bigger question. Is there a link between the military and UFO encounters, including the Roswell crash in 1947?
What the hell was that?
Chasing down leads, Ryder, Ben, and James learn of a man who says he was part of a secret military unit that cleared wreckage of downed UFOs.
The occupant wasn't human.
In a race to investigate these claims, the team digs for answers in Roswell, where they make an incredible discovery.
Looks like it's moving. Ryder for Ben and James. I just spotted something.
What is that?
What? Look. Oh my God. Look at this.
What we have here is not any earthly craft.
You see that?
There's usually a more conventional explanation for unidentified things that people are seeing if you take the time to look for them.
For the first time in my life, I'm caught believing that the possibility of UFOs is all too real.
For me to be out here looking for evidence, this is it. This is what I live for. This is what I've been dreaming about.
Oh my God!
Wow! God. Guys, I'm really excited about New Mexico.
I am too, because this area is really rich in UFO sightings. We're heading to the town of Alamogordo, which is home to the Holloman Air Force Base and White Sands Missile Range. And what's really interesting is, just 100 miles east is the town of Roswell. And that's the site of the most famous UFO incident in history. We're here because of a video given to us by a legendary UFO enthusiast, Ted Lohman. It shows what some believe to be a UFO crashing into the desert. Right here I have the supposed UFO crash at White Sands Missile Base. It's a white-hot elliptical object. It actually takes a bounce, gets airborne again, and then eventually...
It explodes.
Yeah.
As someone who knows the UFO community, there's two camps. Basically, there are some that believe that this is bona fide official footage of a crashed flying saucer. And there are others that believe it was just an errant missile at White Sands, New Mexico. As someone who's investigated UFOs for nearly 20 years, I find this footage really compelling. This object hits the ground and skips. Clearly, it's shaped like a disc.
The fact that it's leaving a contrail to me says missile. It's burning something, which is propelling it. There are UFOs out there that people are seeing, meaning that they're unidentified flying objects. But that does not mean that they're extraterrestrial. There's usually a more conventional explanation for the things that people see up in the sky, even if they can't explain them. In this case, James thinks he sees a saucer. I see a missile.
It skips like a pancake would.
Sure, but if that's attached to the thing that's actually making the bounce.
Are missiles shaped like a pencil, or are they shaped like a pancake?
In profile, they'd look the same.
Yeah, but they don't bounce like a pancake.
Hey, you two play nice.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm not convinced one way or the other. If this isn't a missile, what is it?
Interesting question.
I'm very interested to meet Ted Lohman.
Me too.
I want to find out who gave this to him and what he was told about it.
Ted Lohman is a self-proclaimed ufologist who says he mysteriously received the video in 1997. I want to find out two things: where he got it and what the hell we're looking at in this video. Well, thank you so much for meeting us.
Oh, you're welcome.
I was hoping you could give us a little clarity on what the video is, where you got it, and what you think it means.
It came in the mail anonymously. I can't come from the mind of the person that sent it, but I would say that it was leaked. If you watch the clip, it comes in at about a 30-degree angle, and the camera holds it in mid-frame all the way.
Like it was on a tripod, like they knew it was coming.
It had to be set on a tripod on an angle. So, to me, it's a provocative tape. It does something like we've never seen before. If you were to take a stick that was shaped like a missile, and you were to throw it down on the same angle on a hard surface, it would probably twist and turn and stay close to the ground. If you were to take a Frisbee and throw it on a hard ground, it would hit that ground and leave at basically the same angle that it came in. If it is a rocket, find me a videotape of a rocket that was shot out in White Sands.
Yeah, they're not normally built to bounce.
Okay. Yes, and so The question, is this an alien craft? I say that we are being visited by a highly technologically advanced intelligence. Who they are and why are they here, I can't answer those questions.
He did make the analogy, very similar to mine. I said pancake and pencil. I think he said, what was the wordy word? Yeah, like a frisbee.
Frisbee or a rock skipping.
Yeah, or a rocket, you know? I really enjoyed getting Ted Lohman's perspective on this. He clearly sides with me. This thing was shaped like a disc, not a pencil or a missile. So, sorry, Ben, but until you can show me a pancake-shaped missile, it's a disc.
I don't care what Ted says. This thing looks like a missile to me.
It's not a missile. Look, it bounces.
I agree with Ted that this is an unidentified flying object, but I don't agree that this has to be extraterrestrial, and I think there's a more conventional explanation for it.
Will you two ever agree on this?
Well, yeah, as soon as we get enough data.
I think what we need to do is get in touch with a missile expert and put this story to rest.
Well, of course. I'm not a missile expert.
I'm not a missile expert either.
So
I'm not claiming to be a missile expert. And
we can all agree this is not a normal thing.
No.
I agree with that. We all agree with that.
To put this debate to rest once and for all, Ben and I are going to go meet with a retired lieutenant colonel who tested missiles at White Sands. With this guy's background, I'm hoping he can shed some light on what we're looking at. While Ben and I do that, Ryder's going to go look for a good vantage point over the valley where apparently people are seeing UFOs. This is what we want some answers to.
Yes.
Okay.
Our friendly debate.
Yes. Coming in, hits the ground once. What are we looking at?
Doesn't look like any missile I've ever seen. Never seen a missile like that.
In all your years with the United States Air Force, you've never seen anything like it.
No.
Lieutenant Colonel Matson tested missiles for the military. If he's saying this thing is not a missile, then it's not a missile.
Coming in like that, where it tends to bounce. I've never seen any rocket do that.
He's pointing out the same thing that I've been talking about. This thing comes in and it skips like a stone, which indicates to me, and it indicates to him, that it's not shaped like a conventional missile. And he's basically confirming that for me.
What are your beliefs about unidentified aerial phenomena in the area?
Unidentified flying objects. I believe in them because I've seen them in flight.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
What did they look like? What was your experience like?
Well, we were returning from a mission in Southeast Asia, and the radar hollered and said, "Are you holding hands?" Meaning you got another bird in formation. The answer was negative. We're a single ship. So we did a climbing right-hand turn, and when we rolled out, we looked up. There was 2 full moons side by side, till the right-hand moon rotated about 90 degrees, became this shape, and took off.
Lieutenant Colonel Matson is telling us he saw a flying saucer. That's amazing.
And we said, well, don't know what it is, but sure as heck isn't ours.
So it was as though the object was following like this, and then you saw it on edge, and it just took off.
And in a matter of seconds, it was gone.
So you're saying to me that, as a lieutenant colonel, is that you think that flying saucers are real?
Yes.
So James is really sold on the story, but it made me question whether or not the lieutenant's biased. Obviously, he believes he saw an alien spacecraft up in the sky, and maybe that influenced his analysis of the footage.
This is clearly a hotbed area that's had unusual activity reported for decades. Ryder found a really good vantage point. We can go and survey the area and see if we can see anything for ourselves. Wow. Directly west is White Sands of us, and apparently Holloman Air Force Base uses White Sands for testing as well.
So they're almost one and the same.
Exactly, and you know what? This is like one of the best places to get a good vantage point of the base.
All right, guys. Tonight is just all about trying to record or capture any of the strange activity people have reported seeing at these bases.
Yeah, so, you know, Holloman's gonna be right about over there, and then White Sands is the whole shooting match. I mean, it's miles long.
I'm gonna turn the radio scanner on, see if we can pick up anything from Holloman or White Sands.
Hey, it looks like we got somebody on the runway, maybe.
Yeah?
It just lifted off.
Oh, yeah, there it goes.
Yeah, see him? Maybe a twin prop.
Come on now, let's see if I
You can hear him now.
901 Mike Fox, home approach. Home altimeter is 2998.
In the air, that absolutely looks like a plane. Really no mistaking that as something unidentified. If you kept eyes on it.
See, look. As the angle changes, it would seem like lights are appearing and disappearing. I mean, this is why I think so many UFO sightings are just people who aren't familiar with looking at aircraft.
Shh, they're talking about us. Oh my God.
There's some scary stuff like the UFOs, boys, watch out. But don't believe in creepy stuff.
All right, this is as good a spot as any. I'm gonna turn the radio scanner on, see if we can pick up anything from Holloman or White Sands.
Pretty time critical to maintain radar contact.
I got him. Shh, they're talking about us. Oh my God. Someone was communicating that they were seeing something up here, and then it went dead.
Yeah, like they don't know we're here. It's like going to Area 51 and thinking they're not detecting you sitting on the perimeter of the base.
Yeah, we're gonna need to get higher up. I'm having a hard time picking out the base structure from here.
Yeah, higher vantage point would definitely give us better access to the airspace above the base. Was a traffic control transmission we overheard just a coincidence, or was someone from one of those military bases tracking us? Either way, we need to continue on because we are just barely scratching the surface of this New Mexico investigation. You know, I really think that we need to track down somebody who's got experience not only in the military, but working with, you know, objects like this. We came down here looking for answers on this video that some say is a UFO crashing into a New Mexico Air Force base. D. Graggs worked at Holloman Air Force Base for 29 years. If anyone knows what's going on with the military out here, it's him.
Can you describe a little bit about your experience at Holloman?
I was a senior analyst, and most of my responsibility was to analyze how well the ejection seats in the crew modules worked to see if the crew would be injured, killed, or if they would be safe.
When you were there, did you hear any talk about a landing at Holloman Air Force Base from a flying saucer?
The one I know about occurred in February 1955. President Eisenhower flew from Washington to Holloman. He landed on the north-south runway. There were two saucers. One was about 200 feet in front of Air Force One. The other one stayed about 300 feet up. There was a ramp came out of the UFO. Eisenhower walked up the ramp, shook hands with somebody, and then went inside, and he was inside for about 45 minutes.
Now, do you know that what you're saying sounds absolutely nuts?
Does it really?
It does. No offense. I don't want you to take offense when
I never take offense.
I'm not trying to attack you. I'm a firm,
No,
I'm a firm believer that UFOs are real. I'm
I
just saying that
understand.
that's just a little bit like, whoa, you know what I mean?
You're not going to get me to believe that the government's going to allow the leader of the free world to waltz by himself, unescorted, onto an alien spacecraft that, by all accounts, is spewing radiation, as people have described. It just doesn't make any sense. Can you tell us where Holloman Air Force Base is?
Holloman Air Force Base is just a little bit south of us.
Dee went on to tell us that people still report seeing these strange objects around Holloman and White Sands to this day, which is great because that's exactly what we're here looking for. We're heading up into the mountains so that we can get eyes on these military bases, because I want to see whatever these locals say that they're seeing around here.
This is going to be the best vantage point.
Yeah, look at the view just from here.
Yeah. The things we do for vantage points.
Getting really steep through here.
Now, watch out for the thorny plants. Major cactus over here.
This is not friendly terrain right now. Ow.
Okay, guys, we're at a clearing here off to our left.
All right, this looks good. Nice vantage.
Look at that view.
Well, I'm gonna start setting up the telescope with the video camera. We'll start getting that trained on the skies above Holloman. Ben, you've got the video camera.
Yep.
James, why don't we give you the radio scanner? You could be listening for any chatter coming from the base.
Holloman is dead ahead of us, right?
Yep. Big dark area.
All right, well, I can stay here and man this if you guys want to head up.
Yeah. Yeah, that story about Eisenhower and UFOs at Holloman. This guy in the mid-'80s who worked for the Air Force's archive department, who claimed he actually saw the filmed footage taken at Holloman Air Force Base of a landing of a flying saucer. And it sounds outrageous, but the interesting thing is that this guy who described what this footage looked like was killed in a car crash with him and his wife. So basically, the only known person that saw the footage is now dead.
Wow. We're not going to go any farther this way. The world drops off. Mother Nature took a giant bite out of this mountain. Wow. Yeah, let's go up this way.
Pretty overcast out. Not exactly the greatest sky watching. Haven't seen anything that even resembles strange lights. Quiet over the base. Ryder for Ben and James.
Go ahead.
Hey guys, I just wanted to check in and let you know that I have eyes on the Holloman runway, and I did some scouting around with the scope, and nothing out of the ordinary just yet.
Copy that, Ryder. We're about halfway up at a much better vantage, on our way to an even better vantage.
All right, well, with a view up there, let me know what you guys see.
All right, we'll check in later. Over and out.
Copy that. Nothing going on at the base right now. The was that? What the hell was that? Hold on. Ryder for Ben and James. I just spotted something. A light in the sky. Came out of nowhere. I'm gonna try to get a better vantage point.
Ryder, give me an over. Ryder, be careful. What the hell is that?
Was that? What the hell was that? Let's go. Ryder for Ben and James. I just spotted something. It's moving around the hill over here. I'm gonna try to get a vantage.
You can see her going down the hill.
Ryder, come in, over. Ryder. Ryder, be careful. Ryder, where are you? Ryder, it's Ben and James. Are you okay? Over.
That's not good. Did she fall?
I don't know. Ryder, come in, over.
Hey guys, I just tried to chase what I saw. Get a better vantage point. It disappeared right behind this mountain that's just south of us. No view of it at all. I actually almost stumbled off this ledge over here.
What did it look like, over?
It was like an orange, glowing light. Thought it was a plane at first. Looked again. The thing was moving way, way too fast to be a plane. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get the telescope there. So I thought I'd book after it, at least get better eyes on it. But no luck. Unfortunately, whatever I saw is gone now.
We've got a mountain blocking anything from the south, so it would take hours to climb. Not gonna happen tonight. Over.
Don't worry, I'll be over here picking thorns and cactus needles out of my entire body.
Copy.
Ah, that's smart. That's smart. After what I saw last night, I'm starting to buy into this connection between UFOs and the military bases around here. So we're heading into Roswell to speak with an ex-military official who says he has first-hand knowledge about this connection.
So there is this guy, Sergeant Clifford Stone, that lives in Roswell. He apparently was involved with the recovery of several crashed flying saucers and alien bodies.
Going in to meet Clifford Stone, I'm excited because this is a man with a military background who claims to have been on a physical recovery team. So this is the guy whose eyes I want to be viewing through when thinking about what sort of physical investigation we want to do.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background in the military?
I served 22 and a half years in the United States Army. During that time, I got training in law enforcement, and I also got training in chemical, radiological, and biological warfare. During the 22 and a half years, there were approximately 12 incidences in which I was involved in recoveries.
And you're not talking about terrestrial craft, you're actually talking about...
I'm talking about craft that did not originate on this planet. The first time I went out on a recovery, I was told to pick up my radiological equipment because we had a Soviet craft that crashed, and it may have an atomic device on it.
Well, when you'd approach a site, then, you know, what did the scene look like?
Well, at that point, all I see is the floodlights, and I'm trying to figure out what the craft is. One guy, which I always called the colonel, he came up and said, "You're elected, you're going."
Was there anybody else around the craft?
Oh yeah, armed guards around the craft, but they're not doing anything. I'd say it was about like 30 foot in diameter. It looked like some type of metallic dull gray. And I looked out there and I saw what I saw, and I said, "Sir, what the hell is that? That's not a Soviet aircraft." And he says, "You're not being paid to ask questions. You do the mission." They told me to go toward the craft.
By yourself?
Mm-hmm. When I got to the berm where I could look down, off to the side there was like kidney-shaped hatch open. And the occupant was lying outside the hatch. Appeared to be dead. And I knew that that wasn't human.
Did you ever have it confirmed?
They don't confirm that.
It seems really emotional for you. What are the feelings that you feel just by telling this again?
You relive it in your mind, you see it.
Do you believe that an extraterrestrial craft crashed at Roswell?
No, ma'am, I know an extraterrestrial craft crashed here at Roswell. I know that for a fact. It hit, tried to take back off again, and landed about 4 miles away.
It's, you know, it's interesting, I would make the connection, but you know the video that we have where the object hits the ground, impacts, and then flies back off again?
Similar to what he's describing.
Presuming what Clifford Stone's saying is true, there's got to be evidence left from any of these recovery operations, either of the impact itself of whatever it was, or of the operation itself, which was extensive.
As a geologist, you can survey an area and know where the most likely places where debris would be?
You can know where nature will tend to collect things. So we're going to go meet this geologist, Frank Kimbler, who's gone out to the alleged Roswell crash site and has done a geological survey and has pulled out what he thinks may be the first scientific evidence of extraterrestrial debris.
I can't believe we're here.
So this is the spot?
Absolutely. If you take a look out that way, and then almost all the way down towards the windmill is the extent of the debris field, and then it's several hundred yards wide.
This exact location is something I've talked about and I've researched for years. For me to be standing to where I believe an alien spaceship crashed back in 1947 is unbelievably exciting. Holy look at that.
See, here we are. It's right there. What the hell is that?
Take a look out that way.
Holy look at that. Look at that. For me to be standing to where I believe an alien spaceship crashed back in 1947 is unbelievably exciting.
So Frank, why don't you tell us a little bit about the research you did and what you ultimately found?
Well, when I first moved out to Roswell, I went down to the International UFO Museum, and I started going through the museum and everything. I'm going, well, there's no physical evidence. And then I says, I need to put some science behind this and use some of my geology and see what I can find. And nobody wanted to tell me where the location was.
And what exactly do you mean by location?
There's this debris field, and it's out by the windmill, and that was what I honed in for. That's what I was trying to find. So I had to do some research to find that. And after I found the location, I started pulling out the aerial photographs. And I noticed this area right here, and it shows up as kind of a squared off burn area, which is unusual because they usually don't square off. They're usually kind of curved. And what struck me unique was the fact that the description of the debris field was that it was several hundred yards wide and it was 3/4 of a mile long. And I'm going, oh my gosh, and it just so happens that this thing is sitting smack dab in the middle of what the description was.
So what would be the purpose of burning an area like this?
Destroy evidence.
The equivalent of like throwing bleach on a crime scene?
That's right, and I started looking at this. I'm going, you know what, I'm going to center my hunting area kind of like in the center of that. And that's what I did. I drove out there with a metal detector, a good one. I wanted to look at the low areas where the runoff was, typical geology things. And as the sun was going down in an anthill, there was this shiny little piece of metal. I about had a heart attack. And this is the material I found.
Oh, wow.
Some of them are very hard, some of them are a little bit soft, so there might be 2 or 3 different kinds of metallic things that are out there. If you've ever seen like aluminum cans out in the boonies, aluminum cans don't look like this.
Frank just pulled out little pieces of metal, which could very likely be from a spaceship crashed at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. What if what this guy has is from another world? The implications of that are earth-shattering.
They might have got the big stuff, but that tiny little stuff gets wedged down in the cracks, and I think in any UFO crash site, any place in the world that people say they've cleaned it up and there's nothing there, I think it's a bunch of baloney.
Frank has used solid field science to help him find what may be pieces of metal debris. However, before I'm going to jump to any conclusions about whether or not the metal is terrestrial or extraterrestrial in nature, we got to get more data. We got to do more analysis on more of those fragments to see if it's consistent.
Is the snow going to hinder us at all?
Well, yeah, it certainly impedes line of sight. It's good it's on a slope. Got a natural grade.
Okay, so Frank, this
is ground zero?
You're in it. This is where it hit, right here. It probably came in like this and skipped.
So this is the point of impact right here?
Yeah, right here near the top of the hill and right down through the valley.
While there's been decades of speculation as to what exactly crashed at Roswell, New Mexico, the one thing that everyone agrees on is that there was a debris field from something that impacted the site, skipped, and kept going, and eventually crashed at a different location, very similar to the object we saw crashing in the video at White Sands.
where was the last place that you found some of the debris?
Just to the right of the base of the hill, and then there was some of it that was up this way as well. So we're in the middle of where we found this.
Well, so what do you think, Ben?
I'd say we set up our survey grid and fan out as far as we can get.
So the runoff would take some of the debris, wash it down
Yep.
here.
Send it on down with time.
Well, we're losing daylight, so why don't we drop our gear and start surveying?
Let's get the survey started.
Yeah. All right, all metal, because we don't know what these things are made of. Right now we're near a lot of metal, obviously, because of our gear. Somewhere around this area right here. Okay, while they're getting the area surveyed, let's head up to the latest hotspot. How's it going over there, James?
I could stay out here for weeks, because I know there's debris out here.
I seriously feel like a prospector prospecting for gold right now. Or I feel like a 65-year-old man on the beach in my Speedo.
This is like my Disneyland, I swear to you. The fact that we have 2 geologists out here with us to help guide us through the process, and the fact that Frank has already found debris is just so exciting to me.
Wow.
Got something?
Yeah, you do.
I got something! I got something!
you see it on there?
Kinda. It's like really small. It's very weird.
Wow.
Got something?
Yeah, you do.
I got something!
What do you got? What do you got?
I don't know, but I got something! Come on over! Listen. There's something there.
Absolutely.
We don't know what it is, but I got a solid hit.
It's right there. And we have no idea what it is.
Look at that.
It's just there.
It could be something from a debris from the crash. It could be debris from the
military.
From the military. They were cleaning up the craft. I mean, you know, we're out here at the crash site, and I found something. I don't know what it is yet, but we're gonna find out. So it's in there pretty good.
So see if you can slide it out.
It's buried, huh?
Oh, it's a lot bigger than we anticipated.
Oh yeah.
Careful.
Hey, don't cut yourself.
Wait, it's starting to. This is a big piece, you guys.
Look at that.
Look at that. What is that? It's very exciting that I found anything. I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere, right? I mean, even if it was just something that the military left, that in itself is exciting.
It's metallic. It looks like rusty metal.
But this isn't a Coke can. This isn't, you know.
Is it possible that that's something left over from the military from 1947 that they were here? I mean, is it possible it's that old?
Absolutely. I doubt if it was windblown out here.
I don't care how strong your dust devil.
Yeah,
You're not going to send this 100 miles.
No.
What do you
it's
think
not
it is,
gonna
Ben?
Oh, heck, I don't. On its face, it's evidence something happened here. I mean, it's confirmatory. I mean, something put this here.
That's right. It's a piece of metal from somebody.
And the kicker is we're on top of a hill. Things don't roll uphill. So the fact that this is on top of the hill, something, someone, some group, some activity had to come up on top of this and deposit it. Right?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Well, let's try to collect as much evidence as we can with it on site and move on.
Well, we found one.
Yeah, if we're picking up stuff up here, there's got to be more out here.
It feels great. I'm sorry, but it does. You get that moment where it's like, all right, this is really exciting. I don't want to get too excited. But just the fact that you found something man-made out in the middle of nowhere, that was, in itself was exciting.
Hey, thanks, Frank.
Bye.
It's getting late and Frank has to leave, but we're at the Roswell crash site. We can't just up and leave in the middle of an investigation. So if it takes all night, we're going to stay here to try to find any clue that can help us explain what happened here in 1947.
As a geologist, where do you think the debris would most likely be if there were some debris left?
Nature's going to run it down to the lowest point.
Lowest point. So you're talking about down in here?
Yeah. So
Right
once
down in
we
this little
get
ridge
down
area.
into the...
Little valley.
All right, let's head down.
What's that up ahead? Right here.
Anthill.
Let's check it out. This is what Frank Kimbler said. He said that he went with ant hills and animal burrows.
Paleontologists use it all the time. Look at that curved thing right there. Yeah, is that a stick?
Well, it's actually a little bone fragment.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So these ants will pick up low-density stuff, and they'll bring it all here
What are they using it for?
to build up these hills. So instead of heavier little pebbles, they'll use bones or little flakes of light metal. That's so cool. And this would be a great thing to sieve.
Do you want me to get the sifter out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is our most likely spot, you guys, right?
Well, let the ants do the work for you.
There's 2 in here.
Cool. Great. Yeah, the ground's frozen. So we're really, really only going to get the surface stuff. And we'll still just look for something metallic.
Here, James, why don't you hold this? I'm gonna kind of sweep the area a little bit more with the metal detector.
Okay.
So, you guys don't stop what you're doing.
Division
here.
of labor.
Yeah. Divide and conquer.
That's right.
What is that? That piece right there.
That's a rock.
It is?
Yeah. I see what you mean, though.
Yeah,
it's got a luster.
Yeah, it does.
But that's geological to me. There are minerals that look like that.
Is this good?
What you got? Oh, yeah.
James.
This is rock.
It is rock, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, James.
Yeah.
You're kind of a pro at this metal detector. Will you come over here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see anything here but rock and bone.
Is this just the ice throwing
Could
it
be
off?
the ice. Watch if I remove this ice. I'm try to remove this piece. And see if he still got the reins.
You guys got something over there?
Maybe. It's really strange.
Could be something. Pretty solid earth.
Yeah. Look at this. Try right there.
I mean, I tell you, if I had it my way, I'd spend 6 months out here every night, every day. Because you know there's something out here.
Yeah.
Whoa, look at that. Look at this, you guys.
What? What?
Look.
Shut up.
Look. That's a piece of metal.
Shut up.
Look at it. This is not rusty like the other stuff. Look at this.
There goes 2 slow-moving UFOs. Oh, they're just really bright in the sky. 2 nights in a row. We see you. Thank you, my friends.
Could be something. Whoa, look at that. Look at this, you guys.
What? What?
Look.
Shut up.
Look. That's a piece of metal.
Shut up.
Look at it. This is not rusty like the other stuff. Look at this. Holy found something. I can't believe that. We found something, you guys.
That's a different class of object than the other things we
It
found.
certainly is, isn't it?
Yep.
This is so cool. This has been in the ground for a while, right? Come on.
The suspense, man.
I mean, come on. What does this look like to you?
I don't
Looks like
know.
a piece of metal so far.
How far down is this, you guys? Going down.
Oh my God.
Whoa!
Oh my God.
It's a military button. Look. Look. Look.
Holy Is that Air Force?
It's
See,
wings on the top.
Look, it's stars.
This is a very identifiable symbol.
You guys, this is consistent with what I heard. They had the soldiers
On hands and knees.
on hands and knees, and they were literally combing through this entire area, so they could have easily lost buttons. I mean,
Oh yeah, how else do you just randomly lose a button? Like,
you know,
not if you're just
not gonna be
walking around.
upright, right? You know what I mean? This is like, this gives me chills finding this.
This says not just people were here, but the military was here. This is like from a coat or a
Jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says a symbol on it, so you can
We can identify it. That's why I'm so excited.
Does that mean we can know what regiment or what?
Yes, they're unique per unit.
Wow.
I'm no button expert.
Looks like military. Looks like military.
Yeah, well, it looks like Air Force, Army, Air Corps.
You never know what you're gonna find.
I'm blown away. I'll say that.
Don't ever underestimate the night investigation.
We headed home to analyze the most extraordinary pieces of evidence from New Mexico. And the results even had us surprised. Our missile expert told us that in his opinion, this is not a missile.
Doesn't look like any missile I've ever seen.
So maybe the theory is right. Maybe this is a UFO.
This is what I've been saying the whole time. It looks like a disc, it behaves like a disc, and it skips like a disc.
Okay.
This is not a missile. From everything we've seen and heard during this investigation, I do believe that things are crashing around New Mexico Air Force bases. Are they alien craft? I can't say. But I do believe that the military is going to great lengths to cover this all up. This is the piece of metal that James found at the Roswell crash site.
I got something!
That's the metal under magnification. We had it analyzed. Unfortunately, didn't turn anything up out of the ordinary. It looks like it was just common tin.
The fact that it was out there indicates at least a presence of some sort of activity dating back probably 40, 50, 60 years. While the piece of metal that I found didn't turn out to be extraterrestrial in origin, I'm convinced through all my research, whatever crashed there was not of this earth.
Let me pull up this right here. Clear as day, that's the button that we found at the Roswell crash site. This is an official document that states that our button was used by the Air Force. It was manufactured from 1947 to 1949.
It looked like there were two characters, like, yeah, this, and that, separating the stars. Before we conducted this investigation, I wasn't necessarily convinced that anything at all had really happened at Roswell. This is like from a coat or a
jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This says not just people were here, but the military was here. Certainly now, after finding a button from an Air Force personnel coat, I think something happened there. And for me to go from not sure that anything happened to something happened was quite a journey for me. But that doesn't mean it had to be aliens.